Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Fan Experience Podcast. We are on episode 24. Thank you again for coming back to join us. Got a great show in line for you today. I am your host, Mike Katos. Alongside me is my co-host, Rick Molina. Rick, how are we doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing well, Mike. A lot to get to, a lot to talk about. We got a little Thursday night football. We got a little Major League Baseball playoffs. We got a Game 5 in the NBA. So a lot to get to, man. So let's get to it.
Yeah, well, our guest last week, Larry, said it would go 5. So let's see.
That's right, Larry. Great
let's
call.
See if LeBron and the Lakers can close it out tonight. It's episode 24 for us, and obviously 24 is a big number in Lakers lore. So let's see. Maybe we're a good luck charm for them. Who knows? But anyway, the big news going around the NFL, this COVID, running rampant. There's a couple of people that just tested positive. One of them would be Stephon Gilmore of the New England Patriots. There was that scare. Obviously they had Cam Newton test positive, and Kansas City Chiefs had a couple of people, and they played the game Monday night. And there's a lot of people that think maybe they should have just postponed it a little bit more and kept everyone safe, but that didn't happen. And now you got one of their key defensive players with COVID. But the big news is the Tennessee Titans. If you remember correctly, last week they were supposed to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. They postponed that game to week 7 or 8, which should have been their bye week. And so the Titans didn't play. They were also instructed that they were not allowed to practice in the team facilities. And so what they did was they went and practiced at a high school nearby, and a day later, the NFL got wind of it. Then they put out a memo saying you're not allowed to practice, period. No in-person practice at all. Did it really have to be in writing? That's the question. Did it have to be in writing, or is it just common sense? If you have half your team infected with COVID, I mean, we've been living with this for 7 months. It's not like it's a surprise anymore.
Yep.
If there's somebody that has COVID, you have to distance yourself and you have to take all the necessary precautions. And one of those precautions is not, hey, guys, I know you guys have COVID, but let's go practice at the high school field.
That's true, right?
It's mind-boggling that they even thought that was a good idea. And a couple more Titans tested positive. Surprise, surprise. And now they are due to face the Bills this week. And, now they're pushing it to Tuesday, you said, Rick?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah. So, and then the Bills were supposed to play the Chiefs next week, and then they're going to postpone that. They were supposed to have a Thursday game next week, and they're going to postpone that until probably week 18. Rick, I want to hear your thoughts on the.
I mean, that's exactly what it is. A debacle. It's a complete disaster. I mean, and here's the thing: these guys know, man. It's not like they don't know. They know, dude. Like the protocols have been put in place. They're put in place for their safety to keep their league. And it's almost like we can do whatever we want kind of attitude. We don't have to worry about them. We'll go practice on a field. Who's going to know? Nothing's going to happen to us. We get tested, and look what happens. You get an outbreak on the team. It's a domino effect. You get this. It started with the Steelers game. Now they're moving, the Bills-Tennessee game to Tuesday. And it's like, guys, you have to think. You can't have stuff. And the NFL's got to come down hard on them. Like the NFL, the league has to come down hard. If it means forfeiting a game, if it means a draft pick, whatever it gets to get the message across to the league, to the owners, to the general managers, to the coaches, to the players, the team needs to crack down on them. So whatever it is, whether it's forfeiture of a draft pick or forfeiture of a game or whatever it is, the NFL has to come do that. Because listen, man, the last thing you need is more games being postponed, more guys getting infected, and as the head NFL doctor said this week, all options are on the table. They might even cancel the season. I mean, that's incredible. And we're a quarter of the way in. So these guys sort of have to act together. The good news is it's only a certain amount of teams, right? It's the Titans. You had the Titans. You had Cam Newton with the Patriots. Stephon Gilmore with the Patriots. So it's not like it's league wide. It's just certain teams, and hopefully this is a wake up call for a lot of the guys in the league to say if they're going to think of doing something, they think before they do it. You got Patrick Mahomes now not sleeping in the same room with his wife because she's pregnant. And he's afraid that she could get it because he was exposed. He gave Stephon Gilmore a handshake and a hug after the game. So it's a tense situation right now. But if they can sort of keep this at bay at here, I think we're going to be okay. But these guys, again, the league's got to come down hard on them, and these guys have to stick to these protocols. I know it's tough. Everybody wants to go out and kind of live and do some things, but man, you're in a business where you're playing football for your living. Listen, we can't do that kind of stuff at our jobs. You guys can't do the same. So hopefully the league comes down. And hopefully the season will go on as scheduled.
Yeah, and let's be real. It's not like we didn't expect this to happen.
Right, yeah.
Somebody was inevitably going to contract COVID. I mean, you have how many people in the NFL between personnel and staff? Like 50,000, 100,000?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of people.
So of course, somebody was going to contract it. And then there's obviously protocols in place. If you do have it, then you have to quarantine yourself.
Yeah.
And just gathering together on a high school football field. It's asinine. It's irresponsible. And it should have never occurred. And now they could possibly cause the NFL to cancel the season because they wanted to get in a practice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
because they couldn't play the week before because of the whole COVID situation. So go figure that.
Yeah. It's
incredible. You can't make it up.
It's asinine. And so NBA is not tonight. It's tomorrow night. I thought it was tonight. It was every other night. So.
Okay, so Larry, you're gonna have to wait till tomorrow night to seal the deal there.
Yeah, absolutely. And but yeah, the Yankees. What are the Yankees at right now?
Yankees are 2-1, top of the sixth. Chad Green is in pitching, and this has been an interesting series. It's kind of something I wanted to talk about because what the Yankees did in Game 2 was downright just unimaginable. I mean, in their right mind, what were they thinking? Like the Yankees, when do you know the New York Yankees, Bronx Bombers, 27 world titles, to start all of a sudden just get cute? Start Delvey Garcia for an inning, then bring J.A. Happ, and then you blow up your whole rotation, and it's a complete disaster. Like, what are they doing? Like, this is like overthinking something. It's real simple, man. You have one of the best lineups in baseball. You put Delvey in, you let him go until he can go. You try to win a game, 11-10 or 12-11 or whatever the case is. And go. Don't play this sort of we're going to try to change him and do this. I mean, and Aaron Boone comes from a baseball family. Like, he should have known. He should know better than this. I mean, this is analytics guys getting involved, Brian Cashman. Like, this is somebody basically micromanaging you and telling you what to do. And then, for him to say, oh, I slept on it or whatever. No, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm not a manager. I don't know how to manage a game. But Jesus Christ, if I got a starter, kid's 21, put him in there, let him throw until he gets into some trouble, or let him go 5 or 6. But you just wither away your boyfriend. I mean, your boyfriend. You wither away your rotation and your bullpen. Excuse me, that's what I meant to say. You wither away your bullpen, and then what happens? And now you're in this jam. You're down 2-1. You're down. You're 2-1 in this game, and you have to find a way to win a series. And it's just unthinkable. Like, I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and especially. I mean, maybe they're saving him for a potential Game 5, so
you got Garrett
Cole out of the bullpen. But yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, I love the whole, there's a game on every day, but that affects that whole, that pitching
game 1,
game 4, pitching game 1 to Game 5. You're going on a few days rest, and it gets a little dicey. So. There's pros and cons to that. Obviously, you got baseball every single day, but after this, and it's because that they're all in San Diego, so I get it. So it's not going to be like that next year.
Right.
Granted that we're a little bit better off next year.
Yeah.
And let's hope, knock on wood, that we can be. But yeah, the Astros ended up advancing. The Braves swept.
The Astros, the Dodgers are up 2-0 in the pod. The Astros are like a team on a mission, man. They're looking to just wreck everybody and look to just prove everybody wrong. So, it'd be one thing. Man, could you imagine they won the World Series this year? I mean, that would be just
after everything.
After the whole thing, they end up winning the World Series.
That would be the perfect bookend to 2020. Let's just be real.
They had no fans, so they didn't have to endure all the crap they were going to get, and they end up winning the World Series. And then it'll be I told you so for 6 months. It'll be incredible.
Oh, that would just be oh my goodness. Let's
not even go there.
Let's not even go there. It's a long postseason. Anything can happen. So let's bring on our next guest. Now joining us is Kevin Larney. He's the CEO of Wildchat Sports. Let's bring him right on. Kevin, how you doing?
What's up, Mike? What's up, Rick? Thanks for having me.
What's up,
Thank
Kevin?
you for coming on.
Yeah, super pumped.
So Kev, I'm obviously you're a Massachusetts boy. You're a New England boy, and you're a big fan of all the Boston teams, Patriots, and your Tom Brady. Brady's playing tonight. It just so happens that you're coming on the show when Brady's playing in a new uniform, but you have no love lost for him, and you think he's going to make it. So tell us your outlook on this season.
Yeah, I mean, grew up diehard Pats fan. So seeing Brady leave this year made 2020 just a little bit more against it. That was something that kind of hit close to home, but we got Cam Newton. Cam Newton's a great player. But with Tom Brady, I think they could go to the Super Bowl. I know that's a stretch, but I think with the offense and with the leadership of Brady, I think they could do it. Bruce Arians is a good coach. Gronk hasn't really lived up to the expectations just yet. But O.J. Howard has filled in great with Tampa. So, I think they're a great team.
Yeah, I don't know if I can agree with the Super Bowl, but I definitely see them making the playoffs. I mean, that NFC South it's a mess right now. Who thought that the Saints would be playing? I mean, they're not playing lights out. Michael Thomas has been hurt, so Breeze just doesn't look like himself without having Mike Thomas there. The Atlanta Falcons cannot close a game out for their life. Even if they're up 30 points, 25 points with a quarter to go.
Yeah.
So it's pathetic. And then Carolina lost McCaffrey, and after losing McCaffrey, they sat there and won a couple games. So figure that one out. But yeah, so let's talk about where your love for the Boston teams started. What was that iconic moment that really got you hooked?
So I mean, growing up, my dad actually had season tickets to the Patriots growing up. So him and his college buddies actually got fairly cheap, like 25 years ago, before Brady and Kraft purchased the team. They got the tickets a year before that transition, and it really honestly, we've just been blessed, because who would have thought they would have had a run like this? So for me to grow up in that environment and as a little kid having these pictures of me at Patriot games and wearing some pretty crazy winter hats, in games and stuff, it's been awesome. And so from when I was little to now, all the way into college, I've been been grateful to have the opportunity to go to those games. So always been a diehard Patriots fan. When you're in Boston, you naturally get a knack for the Red Sox. Fenway's so iconic. Again, David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, that 04 team, 2007, Boston Strong, 2013. That was a hell of a run as well. So always was a diehard Red Sox fan. And then Celtics, watching KG, Pierce, and Allen play, that was so exciting too. And that was one of my favorite teams of all time. So I'm all Boston. I don't know too much about hockey, but it's been awesome. It's been a great ride.
Yeah, Kevin, no worries. Hockey's not our sort of strong suit either. So you're good there, man. But thanks for coming on. So I'm so excited that you're on because your story is great. It's one of perseverance, one of just like, when I read about your story, I think it's just incredible. But I want to. So you were at the University of New Hampshire, and you all of a sudden decided to start. And for our viewers, Kevin is the CEO of Wildchat Sports. You started, I guess it was a blog, right? Or a platform to sort of bring sports and entertainment together. And then all of a sudden, not only did it catch on campus, but it caught off campus as well. So tell us about how you sort of started Wildchat.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I was saying a little bit before, like, it was always a goal of mine to work in the sports industry.
Yeah.
And I was just having a really hard time diving in it. Couldn't get my foot in the door. At my sophomore year, I was working like 3 jobs. I was a meat and seafood clerk at Stop and Shop. I was driving an ice cream truck, and I was a financial assistant. And all 3 of those jobs just were not what I wanted to do. And so I just couldn't find time to sort of, make a portfolio for myself in the industry. So, I decided to create a social media account and called it Wildchat Sports. I actually named it after the radio segment that I was a part of at the University of New Hampshire. So the show was called Wildchats. So I was like, all right, I'll make a social media page for that. So, we can get more attention on campus and then maybe, build a brand off campus as well. And, I was just trying to find ways again of just trying to build a portfolio, and digital media is a great way of doing that. Like, in my opinion, you can really build a business strictly through social media and then, make decisions from there, because once you build a brand, you have so much leverage. So, just was like, I post on social media on my free time. So in between breaks was posting, Lebron, like some memes and stuff. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea. Like, I was just reposting stuff.
Yeah.
Developed the site on Wix because some of my friends wanted to get into blogging, and the site I wanted to blog for said they didn't really need any more writers. So I was like, all right, I'll start my own blog. Started it. And again, like, I just had no idea what it was. People were asking me, what is this? Because my social media page wasn't resonating with the website. And then people were tying it back to the radio because people on campus were like, wait, is this affiliated with the university? So this was just a mess. Like, people were, what are you doing? Right? We're at it. And so I just started posting a ton and took one day at a time. And, again, just trying to build a resume for within the sports industry. And I'm blessed to see where it is today.
Yeah, and for our viewers, Kevin applied for 223 internships and only got a handful of calls back, right? So you're the example of perseverance. And so tell us about your first sort of your first interview, because you've interviewed some big names: Floyd Mayweather Jr., Jim McMahon, Michael Ruzioni. But tell us how you were able to sort of like get your first big sort of interview, your first big moment where you finally broke into the industry and sort of cut a niche there for yourself.
Yeah, no. So, really what was it? Probably winter break of my sophomore year, was it? Or maybe last year. I saw a post on LinkedIn. His name was Sean Kelly, and it was like, 20-year-old generates millions of dollars just through social media, college dropout. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, it's insane. And what he basically does is he customizes jerseys for athletes and celebrities. So it's like the Tropic, like the Flint Tropic jerseys, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That kid was like, if you've seen those jerseys, that's by a 20-year-old. And he basically started this from his dorm room, built this social media account with a large following, and I saw he was hosting these events. And I was like, all right, where are these events, right? Because I want to do something in sports. I can't get my foot in the door. If I have to grow a social page, I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I saw he was hosting the event in Montclair, New Jersey. And I get home for winter break, and I'm like getting in the car, and it's pretty far from Montclair. So my parents were like, "Where are you going?" Right? And I was like, I'm going to Montclair, New Jersey. Want to meet this entrepreneur. He's super successful. There's going to be other speakers. Eric LeGrand was there. Some other cool names. I was just like, I just need to learn, right? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just need to learn. I just need to get there. So I went to the event. He gave me some advice about growing the social account. And then that really got me thinking bigger picture, where it was like, how can I build something that I feel like represents me well and is authentic, but also will always tie back to UNH, or at least have a story, right? Because the whole thing with UNH was we don't have the budget to, do some other stuff, and sports was always secluded because everyone liked music at the station. No one really messed with sports, right? So I was like, I just took it off. And that's really what it was. People, I'd probably say a couple months after that, I got the idea of starting a podcast, started watching Gary Vee, it's like, how can I make this podcast cool? So I started interviewing my friends and stuff, hot takes, and we'd be hanging out and going to UMass Amherst, have a fun night out, come back, do a podcast, and then I did that for a few months, and then during the school year was of my beginning of my junior year. So when I went to Montclair, that was the winter of my sophomore year. So excuse me. Really, then I started thinking, okay, how can, everything's digital, right? With social media. And I really felt strongly at that time that a lot of things were transitioning into a digital space. So I started emailing like athletes, celebrities, like I didn't care. I just needed names. Like I was so much free time, and I want to bring more attention to the station. I had trouble with that. I was like, okay, I can't get any celebrities. So I went to Cameo. I had a buddy that he got a shout out from Josh Jacobs. He runs an app called Flash Plays. He's actually a cool guest. I'll try to connect him with you guys. But
thanks, man.
It's called Flash Plays. You answer like 8 questions. If you answer all 8 questions correctly, you win a cash prize. So it's a pretty cool thing. So anyway, he gets Josh Jacobs to shout out the app, and I'm like, how the hell did he? Like, how did he get this, right? And then I was like, what, Cameo, right? Like, I was like a kid in the backyard, right? I was like, no way! Like, look at all the kids. And again, like, my social media page was nothing. Like, it's 100 followers. Like, my friends are like, what is this? Like, this is lame. Like, no, they were always supportive of me, but like, even I knew it was lame, right? Like, I still don't have a large following, but I was just like, all right, one day at a time.
Yep.
That's it.
And I started tagging like, athletes in my stories that had nothing to do with them. I just wanted to see whose attention I was getting. So I would do like a cameo of Mr. Mosby, and I would tag like Grayson Boucher, the professor, and like 10 other athletes just to see who I was getting attention. And so I would just, okay, this person's seeing it, this person's seeing it. And then while on top of that, the Mr. Mosby post was like, that's sort of what put me on the map with on campus, because I went to sleep that night. And then the next morning I had like 12,000 views, and like everyone on campus started posting, and it was on Barstool UNH of like kids at the bars, like, and the caption was, oh, when you hear Mr. Mosby's going to the bar. And I was like, how, like, my account was so small, like, I don't know how it just gained traction. It was on everyone's story.
Yeah.
So it was hilarious.
Wow.
So, that's really how I did it, just through stories, tagging. I started out with cameos and just like who was viewing it. Like, you know, it had nothing to do with like Jordan Belfort. Like I do like the Wolf Tree, right? Like Gary V. I just needed to see who was seeing it so I would communicate through stories. So that's how I started out and just shouted out people. And then with the podcast, you know, did emails, just was like, again, I'll try emails. I saw athletes had emails in their bio. And then like my very first podcast with athlete was actually with Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. He was doing an event at the university. And I was able to have the opportunity to speak with him about his career. And then a couple weeks later, I was like, man, this could be cool, right? To answer your question, like that, like once I got that, I was like, man, what if I could do this like every week, right? Like, sick, right? And and like people are like, all right, you're like, come on, dude, Mahmoud's enough, right? Like, you know, keep it low. And then within the next couple of weeks, again, like Grayson Boucher was one of the people that saw my stories. And I saw he liked it. And when you like a DM, that means you accepted the DM and you can now view the person's messages.
Right.
Usually you have to accept it. So I was like, okay, let's see if I can get his attention, right? Like, let's see if I started DMing him, and it took me a couple weeks, and he didn't respond. Like, oh. And I was like, then finally 1 week, I DM'd him. It's like, hey man, I have 10 minutes. Let's do it. And he FaceTimed me from his car, and I literally got out of class. I'll show you my microphone. It's like $20.
Yeah.
And I just attached this bad boy on my computer. Just FaceTime Grayson Boucher right out of class, and it was awesome. So I was super nervous because that was like the first time I interacted with someone with that big of a following.
Yeah.
But it was cool. And then a week after that, quarantine happened. And, you know, after that Grayson Boucher interview, I was already doing research on Zoom and like Skype and all that stuff. I'd spend like hours a day trying to figure out like how to take a phone call. But then Zoom happened. And so, yeah. And then just grinded in quarantine. And yeah, that's really what it is. So just took one day at a time. So it was fun.
Yeah, that is obviously that's super impressive. When did you start the social media, you know, the social media aspect of it? Like, was it like last year, 2 years now, or how long ago?
Yeah, so the social media piece was actually the first thing I started. So it's about 2 years. Started the blog on Wix, transitioned into Shopify actually this past summer. And I started the podcast. It's probably been about a year now. So I've done the podcast for a year. And so that's the social piece again was the first thing I started of Wildchat, then the blog, and then a little later the podcast. And the blog isn't as open anymore. I'm still trying to find ways to do that and be more interactive, but just you know, just trying to learn and just trying to self-teach.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know, it's like Rick said, you know, perseverance, and like you're saying, you know, get better each day. And hey, this is episode 24. You know, 24, the, you know, late great Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality. You know, the get 1% better every day. So that's what you're doing, and that's really the path that you have to stay on. You just got to keep growing. And honestly, if you asked me a year ago if I was ever gonna host a podcast, I would have told you crazy.
You guys are killing it too, man. You guys are killing it.
It's a lot of fun. You know, I mean, they say like, you know, like joy is on the other side of fear, you know, and I was afraid of it before we even started. But now, you know, I'm glad that we did, because you know, we're having a lot of fun. We're meeting a lot of great people through it, you know, yourself included. And, you know, we're just rolling along, and we're talking about sports. We're talking about sports with people that, you know, that we're meeting and finding out their stories. And, you know, we're in a similar boat, you know, as you. Like I didn't start with a blog, but, you know, obviously as we could all see on the side there, sponsored by, presented by Playing the Field, and Playing the Field is the app that I am creating, centralized platform for sports fans to go and meet other sports fans for any kind of community social purposes, whether it's to find love or to find a platonic friend, like somebody to go to games with, or just join like pick a basketball game with. So, and then the podcast came to me just like you, like with Gary V. That was one of the big mentors that I looked at, and I just he just said humility, just get rid of humility, and that's pretty much what I did. I'm like, all right, let's just do it. Yeah. And now it's a lot of fun, and but kudos to you. You're going out there, driving from Massachusetts to New Jersey just to
that's not a walk in the park.
Have a chance to meet this guy and pick his brain, and right now those opportunities don't present themselves right now because of quarantine.
It's funny you mentioned that, because who would have thought? So roughly a year ago, I went to that event, and now I'm actually helping that kid run his social media. So
incredible,
awesome.
Just doing it on my free time. So I try to stay open-minded and just learn a little bit from everybody. But yeah, I mean, I did actually want to ask you guys. So when did you guys start the app? Like, was this an idea both of you came up with together, or was this like how, I'm interested in more about your story.
The app is Mike's baby, man. That's his pride and joy right there. I'm just helping the cause.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. He's joined on for the ride, but the podcast, he's pulling his weight in gold with this podcast. We're both working hard with the podcast, and he's helping out with the app as well. But as far as the conception of the app, I came up with it about 5 years ago, and I was on online dating apps, and I was on the main ones. Not going to mention their names. Everyone knows them though. And I'm just on them, and I'm like there's got to be a better way to find out if somebody's like a sports fan. Like, there's little to no filters, and they have like an interest section, but some people put sports, some people put Mets, some people put Yankees, some people put baseball. You don't know what keyword to search for. I'm like, this is a little cumbersome. And I thought of the name in about 10 seconds. Looked it up. I'm like, okay, it's not taken. And then about a month later, I met my wife on another dating app. And I'm like, okay, so I don't actually need the solution to the problem, but I couldn't shut it off. It was still in my head, and I was still thinking about ideas. And after marriage, the baby, and things got a little calmer, I decided to move forward with it. Went out, trademarked the name, and started really planning and getting UIs done and mock-ups done. And it wasn't until the trademark was officialized in January of this year, and then really it was pedal to the metal from there. I was trying to raise money for development, but that was a tough go with things, and the quarantine hit. And I had a couple of meetings lined up, but those were all scrapped at that point. And, I just tried to do whatever I could. And I'm like, all right, well, I got furloughed from my day job. So I'm going to do whatever I can while I'm home. Instead of binge watching Netflix, I'm going to try and make this app myself. And sure enough, I did. And I put out the beta. It's still in beta right now. Still working on some bugs, working on some updates. It's on the web, playthefielddating.com. Anyone can join it and try it out. Please do. Anyone that's watching,
check it out, man. I'm checking it out. Right before I came.
Awesome. I appreciate it. And then just send over your feedback. What features do you want to see that you haven't? And we'll try to add those in. But yeah, we're working on a mobile version so we can have them on the app stores for later this NFL season. And it's kind of a silver lining right now that sports is the way it is. So now it gives me a chance to really build it up before we really unveil it hardcore to the world.
Yeah. Well, that's what I love about it, right? Because like with sports, it's just it's just an easy conversation, right?
Yeah, man. Everybody said that.
No matter what, right? No matter what, like it doesn't matter if you're a diehard fan or if you're just from the area. Like everyone has some small connection to sports, right?
Yeah. Even if we're Jets fans and you're a Patriots fan,
the connection is you kick our ass every time. That's the connection.
Yeah. Sam Darnold's still seeing ghosts, all right? I'm a little worried, man.
but we could still talk about it. It's still something to talk about, whether it's whether it's trash talking or just talking. There's something. There's always going to be some kind of a conversation about it, and it's the world's best unifier, in my opinion. Especially with what's going on in the world. Political climates and just everything. That's negative around media and whatever. But when you bring up sports, it's like, you're instantly connected. So,
and you talk about like, memories at the game, right? Even in quarantine, right? People are throwing back pictures and iconic moments of the finals and stuff. I mean, you can never get away from it, man. So it's, man, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, Kev, I wanted to ask you, you've interviewed guys like I said, Floyd Mayweather, Michael Ruzioni, Doug Flutie, Drake Bell, Dwight Howard. I mean, tell us, what you learned having these interviews with these athletes, what you've learned about them. Who was your favorite interview? Who was the most interesting interview? I mean, give us a little insight in some of these interviews you've done, man, because these names are just like, they're great names out there.
Yeah, no.
Well, let me ask you this. What's it like to interview Money Mayweather? I want to know that one, man.
That one was kind of crazy because I was actually, so this summer I was working at a local collegiate baseball league.
Okay.
So I play the stadium music and I worked the video board. So yeah, I found out I was going to get that opportunity while I was at work. Just like, oh my God. Like, I was just like, what's going on? Like, I'm at this, not even like a minor league, like a step below it. And honestly, man, like you talk about diving into the industry, like it was the perfect role for me. Like it was the perfect first role in the industry, and I'm super blessed. But yeah, all of a sudden I hear about this opportunity, and I actually asked my boss, like, I don't have a charger. Like, can I use your computer? And can you bring a charger? Like, I was really like pushing the limit, right? Because it's during a game, and especially with COVID, like each game meant that much more because it's such a small season. So I mean, one mistake, it's like, why weren't So, but she took she was awesome about it. She was super chill. Gives me her computer and charger, and I get in the chat or whatever, and I hear that I get like 10 minutes. So while I was at work, I just come up with questions, and I'm like, what do I ask this guy? like there's just so much going in my head, and you only have a limited amount of time, and you're focused on trying to help run a baseball team. And so this is, I hop in the podcast for when the game was like in the bottom of the ninth. And it was so like, I don't know if you guys seen the interview, but it's while I'm interviewing him, like Floyd's like, what's that? Like, I'm at a baseball game. They just hit a walk-off home run. And he's like, oh, cool. What's the name of the team? Like, he was probably thinking, maybe a minor league team, affiliate with Red Sox or something. Yeah. And I was like, oh, the Nashville Silver Knights. And he was, he's got his chain, and he's on his phone. And I was like, what am I doing right now? The weirdest place. I never thought this would happen. And honestly, the location of where I did that interview honestly made the experience, because you have an opportunity, you just got to go for it. And, that was like once in a lifetime. So he was super cool. And, honestly, with a guy like that, like you kind of think, he thinks he's above, it's a little bit superior. He has the chains, I'm literally looking at him, and his outfit's like worth worth way more than my house, right? so yeah, he was super cool, man, and he was just super humble, and yeah, you could tell he was definitely a genuine dude. So it was an awesome conversation, and yeah, I'll never forget it. So it was cool.
That's incredible, man, for a guy like you. So I'm sorry, I was gonna say, so where do you see Wildchat in the next few years? Like where are you trying to take, like, I guess, where are you trying to take it? How are you trying to intersect sports and entertainment in the industry, as a whole? Like, where do you see it growing in a few years?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, just taking it one day at a time, right? Slow down, post TikToks. TikTok's been big, just try and get that picture. Yeah, I mean, really just staying consistent. Right now with Shopify, a lot of people talk about the podcasting part of Wildchat, which is a great time, but I'm really trying to find ways where I can hopefully do this full time. And with Sean's story, with Shopify, I was like, you got to give it a go because there's so much opportunity in e-commerce. So I built the store, built the website, designed some products. So right now, I'm trying to reach out to guests and previous guests I've had and sort of saying, hey, let's do a partnership where, you promote your product that I create for you with the Wildchat brand, and you get 50% of the profit that we make from that campaign. So right now we have like Hugh Jackson, and like he's got like a sweatshirt with like his sunglasses on, like it's kind of like this cool, like if you're in Hugh Jackson's like, I love it, like my whole family wants one. I'm like, all right. So it's hilarious. So yeah, I mean, I'm really I just think there's so much opportunity in the space. Like when you see like, Mark Wahlberg after the game hanging out with, Tom Brady, right? Like that's a cool interaction, or Spike Lee at the Knicks.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to just take one day at a time. And I think athletes also have this entrepreneurial side to them as well that people don't forget about, right? And when they retire, they're trying to start a business. Like Chris Gronkowski is a great example, starting Ice Shaker. So they have that same mentality in sports, and they bring it to either entrepreneurship or entertainment, right? Like with Gronk, he wanted to almost be like a celebrity, right? Like, he was WWE, he was in a few movies, right? Same with Ronda Rousey, right? So that's really what I'm going for. And then, of course, like sports about movies too, sort of line in with that, like Rocky and The Blind Side and Miracle with the Ruzioni. So I'm really trying to, it's still erratic, but I'm really just trying to take one day at a time. And, it's just all fun. It doesn't even feel like work. I'm in my senior year of college. Every second I do it, I just go on my phone, reach out, love talking to people about sports, helping out with podcasts, or, just hearing their stories. And, it's just been awesome, man. And especially in quarantine, I feel like I've had so many different conversations during an isolating time. So it's kind of ironic. But yeah, it's been all fun. It's been great.
Yeah, I completely understand you on that. Like during quarantine, when we're supposed to be socially distancing, we're talking to more people than we've talked to in years. And we're doing it this is only episode 24. But yeah, even obviously the guests that have been on and other guests that are due up right now, we're booked up into January right now. So, we have we're blessed to, have had positive outlook on the podcast. And like you said, it doesn't feel like work. It's fun. Yeah, we're just talking, we're talking about things that we love, which is, sports. And we wish you nothing, but the best.
Man.
You have, your whole life ahead of you, and you're on, a great path. And, there's going to be a lot of great things that are going to come out of this quarantine, whether we believe it or not, because this is the time where people are sitting there and they're grinding. You're either taking two sides of the coin. You're either grinding to build something or you're watching Netflix all day, every day, and that's really where you're gonna stand with this. And we're trying to build. We started the podcast inside of quarantine, and you're trying to build. You started it, just right before it, but you're still grinding. You're still reaching out to all these people, getting all these amazing guests on. Chatting with Floyd Mayweather at a baseball game in the late innings. And you know what? That it's kind of fitting. You said it was a crazy chat. Well, it's a wild chat at the game. So it made sense that you ended up, only having a few minutes to talk to him, and it was the wild circumstances. So it works out, and it works with the brand right there, for sure. And when an opportunity knocks,
I'll have to send you guys a hat.
Yeah, man. You got a t-shirt, dude. I want a t-shirt.
I like the Blockbuster one. Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah,
man. I want a t-shirt. Nah, but Kev, man, you're doing great work, man. I mean, just your story is inspirational. What you're doing is great work. Keep it up. And you have a home here, man. So anytime you want to come on, you want to talk about something, a product, tell our viewers about your next interview. Tell them who you're going to drop next week, by the way.
So I'll probably drop the Christopher Lloyd interview next week, known as Doc Brown and Back to the Future. So again, pretty short, but I was happy to get the opportunity, and it should be a fun convo. So I have honestly, I have 30 podcasts in my archives right now, just because I had nothing else to do in quarantine. What I don't know. So Christopher Lloyd, I guess we'll count on that one. But yeah, man, same with what goes with you guys. I mean, if there's any way I can support you guys and what you
appreciate it,
huge sports fan. So reach out whenever. Love what you guys are doing, and keep trying to keep inspiring for sure.
Thank you, Kevin, man.
I appreciate it, and likewise, anything we could do to help you as well. We're more than happy to help you out. And everybody, wildchatsports.com. Yes. And on Twitter, Instagram, and is that the TikTok too? Wildchat Sports?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at Wildchat Sports. Go give them a follow. He'll notify you of that Christopher Lloyd drop, and obviously catch up on all the other interviews that he's had, and some great guests. So go check it out. And Kevin, thank you again for coming on. It was a absolute pleasure. It's 13-7. Brady is still on top in this game.
All right. It should be an interesting year. Brady versus Belichick. We'll see.
Brady's looking good so far, man.
Jimmy Graham touchdown. So the Bears have the lead.
I just dropped him too. Great.
Oh man. Well, they didn't take the lead yet. They got to hit the. They got to hit the extra point.
More Matthew Berry or something, man. I don't know. I gotta get on those videos. But hey, no, thank you again, guys. Really appreciate it. It's an honor, and if there's any way I can support, just reach out whenever. And keep killing it.
Thank you.
Same to you, Kevin.
Very much.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night.
All right. See you guys.
Peace.
Later.
That's incredible, man. That is an incredible story. That kid is a grinder, dude. I mean, think about it, bro. That's all it's all about.
But you do that, you keep moving ahead one day at a time, and those things will happen. It's just the second that you stop, that's when, that's when you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get something handed to you. You have to go out there, and you have to keep going for it, and you have to, just keep grinding.
And look, man, he's not even out of college yet. He's got some time with Floyd Mayweather, Christopher Lloyd. I mean, Mike Eruzione is an American hero. He's an American treasure, man. He hit the game-winning goal against the Russian team in the '80 Olympics. Doug Flutie with the miracle throw. I mean, just the people that he's talked to and his ideas, right? Think about that. He's collaborating with these celebrities to put a line. And for those of you guys who are watching the show, go to Wildchat Sports and you can buy these T-shirts, buy the joggers, buy the hats. That's some great stuff, man. I saw a couple of shirts I might get over there. But like he's innovative.
I like the blockbuster one.
Yeah, I know. I saw that one. But he's innovative, man. I mean, that's what you got to do. Then that's the hustle. And if you take away anything from this interview, it's just this kid's persistence, man. I mean, this thing is going to be big in the next few years. I just see it. So kudos to him, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Best of luck to him. But, it's not about luck. It's about, working hard.
Yeah. And Kevin, I can't root for it. As much as we love you, I can't root for anything Boston. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. It's not gonna happen.
Well, that's what that's what makes sports so great. We could still get along, but we don't have to root for your team. All right, so let's
we can be friends, but that's about it. Yeah.
Let's take a peek into
let's do the 5 for 5.
All right. Well, yeah, but I was going to take a peek into the MLB scores real quick, and the Yankees are up 4-1 in the top of the 8th. So
Chapman's coming in the 9th.
Yeah. So let's see if they can, get through these last 2 innings and bring that game back to Garrett Cole tomorrow night. So, well, it's good news for your Yankees right now. So
but we'll see.
1-0 and 1-0 at the Dodgers game. It just Padres just scored in the last second there. So 1-1, bottom of the second. All right. So let's go with our 5 games here. I want to start with the Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. Chiefs are favored by 11.5.
I don't see the Chiefs. Go ahead. I give you the floor, my friend.
Yeah, that's too much. The Raiders, I like what the Raiders have been doing. And you know what? Let's not forget, was it last year or 2 years ago where they were like huge underdogs and they ended up winning outright? So I like the Raiders. The cover the 11.5.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't see this thing being 11.5. I mean, look, last week, if it wasn't for those 2 penalties on one drive, the Patriots are playing the Chiefs pretty well. So I don't think it's going to be they're not going to blow them off the field. So I'm with you. I'm taking the Raiders and the points in that game.
Yeah. Let's you pick the next game. What do you
okay. Well, the next game on my radar right now is an interesting one. And it is going to be Indianapolis at Cleveland.
Yes. That is an interesting one. I will give you that one. It's a pick 'em. I mean, it's 1 point, 1.5 in some places, 2 in some places.
Yeah.
So it's practically a pick 'em.
Here's the thing, man. Indianapolis. I mean, the Cleveland's 3-1. They just beat the Dallas Cowboys. Baker Mayfield's hot. They're starting to come into a zone here. I'm going Cleveland to win this game outright. I'm taking them Cleveland outright. I think they win. I think they cover.
Yeah, I don't know. The Colts have the best offensive line in football right now. They have the best defense in football. Cleveland Browns, yes, they've definitely been putting up the points, and this is the first time in decades, I think, that they've done this in 3 games in a row where they scored over 30 points. But the Colts defense is pretty good. And I think Phillip Rivers beats the Browns in this one.
Okay. So you're taking the Colts. Taking the Colts. Okay.
Yeah, they'll cover by 1. I mean, it'll be semi close.
Yeah. Right now the Colts are -1. So
yeah,
you got. I like Cleveland in this game.
Yeah, the home underdog.
Yeah.
Okay. The next game.
Game 3.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go with the Monday night game, just because it's my new favorite team here, the Los Angeles Chargers against the New Orleans Saints in the Dome. Chargers are getting 7.5. Herbert was just announced the starting QB going forward. They did lose Eckler, but I love what Herbert's doing. He just came across the country last week or the week before, and he didn't look like he was slowing down much there. And I want to say that they're going to cover the Saints. if Michael Thomas plays,
Mm-hmm.
then I take the Saints. If Michael Thomas does not play, then it's the Chargers. Plus 7.5. They're gonna keep it without a touchdown at the very least.
Okay. Listen, I am impressed with Justin Herbert. This kid is just throwing bombs down the field. He's not playing scared. He's standing in the pocket. He's running when he needs to. And the Saints, look, I mean, Breeze is getting older. I mean, he doesn't have Michael Thomas, so we don't know if he's going to play or not. But I just like the way he's playing right now. And I just like the vibe of the Chargers, man. I'm taking this. I'm taking the Chargers plus 7.5 on this one. I don't think the Saints are going to win this game by a touchdown. I think it's going to be close. It was close. The Chargers played the Bucs close last week. I mean, Brady did throw for 5 touchdowns, but I something about Justin Herbert, man. I like him, so I'm going Chargers and the points.
We go back about 10 to 12 weeks ago, and how much we were knocking on the Chargers. We said, okay, they're going to win one game.
What did we say? 2-14 or something like that?
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, we did, and Tyrod Taylor was starting.
You play the game.
That's how you, as Herman would say.
Any given Sunday, it's why you play the game.
Yeah.
And it's just it's great. It's great seeing it. And now let's go on to our hometown teams. Are we going to start with the Giants, or are we going to start with the Jets?
Let's just start with the Giants. And again, I don't know why we do this to our viewers, but I guess we have our local viewers, and we apologize for this brutal football season, but we got to do it. So let's go. The Giants are
at Jerry's World.
At Jerry's World,
9 points.
Yeah, I don't see how they keep up, and especially for the Cowboys after losing the way they did last week. I mean, if they were to come into this game and lose this game to the Giants, Daniel Jones is good for 2 picks a game. The Giants have no defense. I don't know how they cover CeeDee Lamb. I don't know how they cover Amari Cooper. Ezekiel Elliott's going to run for over 100 yards. I love the Cowboys. Yeah, I love the Cowboys in this game.
Yeah.
I don't see how the Giants can keep up. Now, they played well last week. Eventually, they did lose because of Daniel Jones, but I don't know how they keep up with the Cowboys this week.
No. The Cowboys are taking this and probably running away with it. They're probably going to be a pick 6 in there somewhere. Dak Prescott's going to throw for at least 3 touchdowns. Zeke's going to run for at least 1, if not 2. I could see them scoring 35 to 40 points in this game, and the Giants aren't scoring anywhere near that.
Yeah. So
yeah, that one's an easy easy cover there.
And now, the final game.
New York Jets at home at MetLife Stadium with the Arizona Cardinals coming to town. And you know what? The Arizona Cardinals, after their couple of last 2 week debacles where they're losing to teams that honestly nobody anticipated them to lose to, that's why this spread is only at 7. Let's be real, because if after they beat the Niners, if they went out and controlled those last 2 games, this spread would easily be like 10-11. Yeah. But it's only a touchdown. Kyler Murray is going to get back right. The Cardinals defense is, I mean, you don't even have to be a defense to be good against the Jets. Yeah. Sam Darnold is not starting, however.
Separated shoulder or sprained AC joint, but looks like he might have separated his shoulder.
Joe Flacco will be the starter in this game.
Yeah.
But I don't see how it's going to be any type of improvement in the grand scheme of things if they don't have receivers that can catch the ball. And Le'Veon Bell might come back as well.
There you go.
But it's still Adam Gase that's still coaching this team. So they are going to lose this game, and they're going to lose big.
Yeah, when asked this week if he's going to change up his offense to fit his quarterback, he said, why would he change it? Enough said. They're going to get annihilated. This game, I don't think is going to be close. You're going to have Joe Flacco. You're going to have Frank Gore back there. I mean, you got a bunch of guys in their mid-30s. We don't have any receivers. Denzel Mims is drafted and said and just is in the witness protection program. I mean, how long does it take to heal from a strained hamstring, dude? Like 2?
Both of them.
Oh, it's both hamstrings. Jesus.
Yeah.
What is he, in a wheelchair? This kid's 20 years old and he's crippled. Like, how are you 20 years old and you pull your hamstrings, dude? I mean, that would happen to me if I go to the gym and do like some workout. And I get it. I'm 42, but Jesus, this guy's 20, 6'5", 20, body fat of like 2%, and you're pulling your hamstrings. I mean, are we ever going to see him play? I mean, this is embarrassing.
Yeah. And then you got Frank Gore, who's 50 and running
Frank
for 100
Gore,
yards.
who's collecting Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. You know, he's out there running for 100 yards, and it's like it doesn't bother him. And Denzel Mims is 20, and he pulls both his hamstrings. He's in a wheelchair. I mean, this is crazy. But you're right. You're going to see a coach. You're going to see a real coach in a real offense with Cliff Kingsbury and DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray, Larry Fitzgerald. You know, Kenyon Drake, who was in Miami, was glad to leave.
Oh, revenge game against Gase.
He's gonna take it to Adam Gase and shove it right up his ass. I'm sorry, I had to go there. And the Cardinals are gonna just destroy him, man.
I didn't even realize that narrative. But Kenyon Drake is gonna show up Adam Gase.
He's going to run for 150 yards. It's going to be no end. And it's going to be the same type of dive on first down. It's going to be another dive to Gore on second down. No play action, third down, bubble screen or wide receiver screen, you know, what have you. And you know, that it's just going to be a flat offense. It's going to be a flat team. So the Cardinals are going to cover easy. I'm going to be miserable the next Sunday. I'm probably going to have to go for a walk. I might need some help. I might have to freaking wear a paper bag on the next show after the debacle that's coming here next on Sunday.
Do we think that Adam Gase gets fired on Monday?
No, he doesn't. No. And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, dude. I mean, if you're as a Jet fan, you look at this thing, it is a disaster. And how this guy still has his job is unbelievable. How is Joe Douglas so blinded to stick to this guy? I mean, at some point, Joe Douglas and Christopher Johnson and the hierarchy of the Jets got to be like, look, man, I think honestly, this seems like a tank season. They're trying to get more picks to get better players in here, but the guys they draft can't play. They're 20 years old and pull both hamstrings. But be that as it may, this is not working. I mean, what part of you do not see that this is not working and he has to go? You need a professional coach in here with a professional offense that people will respect. Nobody respects him. It's time for him to go. Now, they want to ride it out to the end of the year. I don't know why. I think it's just to make us miserable and make people like me want to take a left off the bridge when we go to work on Monday. But I don't know how he keeps his job, man. I really don't. But, you know, to get back to the game real quick, it's not going to be pretty Sunday. But I'm going to watch. You know why? Because I like pain. I'm a masochist. I'm going to put on my Boomer jersey. I'm going to watch it like an asshole. Excuse me. I'm going to watch it there. I'm going to be miserable. And I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna be like, why this? And then it's gonna sink in that, oh yeah, my team sucks, and it's time to get my blood pressure down and go for a nice walk to Astoria from Jackson Heights and come back. So I had to get that off my chest. There you go.
Preach, man.
No, listen, man.
So no, what I don't understand is how a smart and driven kid gets denied for how many internships did he apply
223 internships. He got denied.
223 internships where he's pushing hard to try and get into these places, and he's a smart kid, a driven kid. He can't get into an internship at 223 places, yet Adam Gase is able to stay on this team as the head coach for almost 2 years now. And it still gets to keep his job when he is a complete imbecile, doesn't know what he's doing. And honestly, if it wasn't for Peyton Manning, really just
screwed us again.
Yeah.
Screwed us again. And Mike, here's the other thing. You remember when they were looking for a coach after they fired Todd Bowles, right? Who do they interview?
Mike McCarthy,
Frank Reich, Eric Bieniemy, Matt Rule. Think about that. Matt Rule's killing it in Carolina. Eric Bieniemy is going to be a head coach, and he's going to get to choose wherever he wants to go to. And Frank Reich has been leading his team in Indianapolis. I mean, it is, and the Jets decide.
Adam Gase.
Adam Gase. Enough said. Clearly, people don't know what they're doing over there.
It's on the ownership. It's on the general manager.
No, Joe Douglas came here because of Adam Gase. But I think, look, friendship is one thing, dude. But if you realize your friend is not good at something, be a friend and be like, look, man, you're just not good at this. I think it's safe to say you're not good at this. I love you, but I just gotta cut bait with you, and I gotta bring a professional in here because we need a professional coach to fix this disaster. And I'll tell you right now, if they go 0-16 and Joe Douglas says because of injuries or whatever, we're gonna keep him. Oh man. It is going to get ugly. It will get ugly, but I don't see any way that Adam Gase stays. And then the question is, who's going to want to come in here? Like, is a real coach going to want to come here and coach his team? I mean, seriously, will Bieniemy want to come in here? Will like an Urban Meyer want to come out here? Would a Lincoln Riley want to come here? Like somebody, like a professional coach want to come here? No, of course not.
No. I mean,
so what are we going to do? We're going to hire the assistant special teams coach to coach the team. That's what we're going to do. And that's my rant.
Yep. Donnie loves it. So that's
Donnie, I've been holding that in for like 5 days, man.
Well, Donnie, thank you for watching. Yeah, everybody, thank you for watching. Yes. And we will be back with episode 25, quarter of the way to 100 on Tuesday night. And like we said, we have a little bit of a treat for you guys. It's really a big thank you for you guys. And we'll see on Tuesday. And we have a very great show planned for you. We got our first, group chat. Really,
we're looking forward to. I'm looking forward to this one. This is gonna be fun.
We're gonna have the founders of Book It Sports and talk about the app that's coming out on November 1st, and really chat about that and meet the guys behind the app.
We look forward to meeting everybody behind the app.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so. Until Tuesday, have a good night, everybody, and let's hope we can play some football this Sunday.
Yeah, enjoy your football. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Thanks for viewing. Peace.
Have a good night.